Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, naduhu wasta'inuhu wastadihi wastaghfiruhu wa uminu bihi jalla wa ala wa la akfuruhu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu wa as-salahu bil huda wa dinil haqq liyudhhirahu ala ad-din kullihi wallahu kariha al-mushrikun. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him, we seek His help, His assistance, and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is a servant and messenger. Allah sent him, that is Muhammad, with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth, this way of life known as Islam, to rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأوصاف الأولى كلمة التقوى وخير الملال ملة إبراهيم وخير السنن سنة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وأشرف الحديث ذكر الله وأحسن القصص هذا القرآن وخير الأمور أوزنوها وشر الأمور محدثاتها وأحسن الهدي هدي الأنبياء وأشرف الموت قتل الشهداء وأما علامة دلالة بعد الهدى وخير الأعمال ما نفع وخير الهادي ما اتبع وشر الأمة أما الكلام. The Prophet ﷺ said the most truthful of discourses is Kitabullah, or the Book of Allah. The most trustworthy word is fear of Allah. The best of the community is the community of Prophet Ibrahim. The best way of life is the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The remembrance of Allah is the most glorious of all things. The best of all narrations is Quran. Best acts are those requiring the highest degree of will and determination. The worst acts are those based on innovation. The best way of life is the one adopted by the prophets of Allah. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most wretched blindness consists of going astray after finding the right way. Best acts are the ones that yield benefits. Best guidance is that which people may be able to follow. The worst blindness is the blindness of the heart. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين محمدين النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد يقول الله تعالى في القرآن الكريم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا تركبون تباكا عن تباكين. You shall surely travel from stage to stage. لا تباكا عن تباكين. You shall surely ride upon event after event. And one of the favorites is, this is from Sayyid Qutb, that you shall surely ride stage after stage. That is to say that you will pass from one stage of suffering to another, to what has been predestined for you. The Quran uses the term ride to denote the undergoing of various stages of suffering. Ride is frequently used in Arabic to signify the passage through risk and difficulty. This usage suggests that difficulties and risks are like horses or mules to be ridden. Each one will take the rider, the stage predestined for it and for them. Thus, each one will deliver them to a new stage, which is again predetermined. I've read this many times, and I just wanted to read it again. There's one more item that's kind of nice. And he provides for you from sources he never could imagine. And if anyone puts his trust in Allah, sufficient is Allah for him, for Allah will surely accomplish his purpose. Verily, for all things has Allah appointed due proportion. Another translations, and will give him provisions in such a manner he cannot anticipate. And whoever relies on Allah, he suffices him. Verily Allah attains his purpose. Indeed, Allah has set for everything a measure. And we opened with the ayat talking about you shall surely travel from stage to stage. And then the other translators said, you will surely ride from event to event. And Sayyid Qutb says that these events that will cause your evolution, that you will take as though you were taking a bus or airplane ride to take you to your final destination. And each one of those rides that you get on, each event that you're involved in, takes you from one level to another. That's why it says stage to stage. The people that don't take the ride will eventually not know what you're talking about. They will understand the surface language, but they won't understand anything else. You know why? Because they haven't taken the ride. They haven't taken the risk. They haven't went through the difficulty. They have not encountered challenges and obstacles. Therefore, it's just talk to them. But for those people who have accepted the challenge, who have taken the ride, the event, each event, no matter how big or small, carries a person as though he's riding or gliding from one stage after another. So pretty soon, the one that's taking the most rides is going to out-evolve everyone else. The ones that don't take the ride, they're not going to move. For that reason, I wanted to start with, this is March 23rd, 1980. And it has at the top, destiny. I'm going to skip a lot of it, but the subject is, this was the first basic talk that we gave at our Masjid in Oakland when we opened it. And we had opened it in spite of the government. I read to some of the brothers saying that we don't want you to be involved in no religious center and da-da-da-da-da. And there was a lot of drama behind that was going on. And so at parole board, they go into the halfway house, they said, now are you going out there and get a job and going to work and make some real money instead of working at a car wash? Because my friend, you know, in those days he had a big car wash, so we didn't need no job. So he used to put me on the payroll and you know, take money out for him. And if anybody called, I had a job. So Pardons Board was telling me, and I showed the paperwork to the brothers, that you went out twice before and you was working on a religious center. We don't want you to do that anymore. And you leave your spiritual, that's what they say, development to your own personal time. When they asked me, now when you go out there, will you go straight to work? I say, yes, sir. Will you get a job? Yes, sir. Will you avoid a religious center? Yes, sir. I won't start no religious center. The only reason I told them that lie is because I already had the Masjid was already open. And they took me back a week after we opened it for another 14 months. So if I said, I'm not going to start no religious center, well, I wasn't. But I definitely was going to be, that's what I was training for in prison. Prison was not the same for me. I was in prison studying. I'd been all over the world, mosque, everything, on the street and everything, and they slipped up and took me back. But I was studying in the penitentiary to do what I was going to do on the street. I knew what I had to do, so I was studying for that. Just imagine, you get a chance to study all kind of tafsir, Quran, and everything. So when I came out, I went straight to the center, Masjid al-Islam, what we called it Masjid al-Maududi in those days. And I got busy. Now, while in prison, I'm going to go over some of the plans of what we intended to do. First, we opened Shahada Salam. Potential is something as potent, as powerful as that has not yet become. It's latent, it's undeveloped. It's like a seed. If you have a seed, you plant it throw it on the sidewalk, it won't grow and develop because it cannot reach into the earth and pull out sustenance. So you have to plant a seed in a proper environment. That's what potential is. Potential has to be placed in a proper environment, right, for it to develop. Everything is like that. Iron, ore, uranium, forest. You have to go into the forest and pull everything out of there. It don't come out by itself. That's what potential is. It's powerful. It's potent. It has the ability, the capability, but it has not yet become. It is unrealized. It is the job of the brothers, it is the job of the society to bring the good out of the people, just like it's the job of a forester to go out in the forest and properly harvest trees, or for a miner to dig properly into the earth without destroying the earth and mill and develop that iron or ore, gold, or whatever it is. The earth has full potential, but as a human being, properly exercised, properly used, to go into the earth and bring out those things that Allah has put in there. That's why Allah refers to the earth as a treasure house, and there's treasures in the earth, there's treasures in the ocean, right? That's what the Quran is saying. Now, we'll try to speed up. We're just talking about the outline, what we plan to do when we get out. Every environment, every age produces certain needs. And nature produces needs to satisfy hunger, sex, thirst, all kind of things, right? So each society should develop institutions to answer the needs of the individual, the community, and of the world. Then I go into the European about his manifest destiny, which we won't talk about. Not saying that we have a manifest destiny, but we're choosing. You know, in our writings now, we always talk about choose your destiny, right? We say the book you want to read, write that book. It ain't in the library, the book you really want to read. Think of the book you really want to read. There's a book about movement, how successful the movement has become, how the movement met and overcome all challenges and obstacles. And each challenge the movement faced, it caused it to ride one level after another in a never-ending process of evolution, not revolution. All right. And here we say we are responsible for our own evolution. Not Washington, not Chicago, not Africa. We have cut the cord, cut the umbilical cord. The Negro, this is 1980 now. The rebellion is over, but there's remnants of it still going around. And what's still really popular at that time is we have to work within the system. Right? And by that time, there's black police, black judges. There's been a lot of them already. But now there are tons of them. They're all doing what? Working within the system. Right? When you go downtown, Sister Uga Booga and Brother Umba Bumba is down there in their dashiki in 1980, giving you the Black Power sign on the low side and working within the system. The judges are giving you the same amount of time as the white judges, and maybe even a little more, just for you, because they want you to get extra care. Okay. So we talking about if you want to study the best, if you want to be the best, you have to study the best. If you want to see how fast a man can run, you study the Olympic records, isn't that right? And that's your model, the Olympic runners, because you want to run the fastest. So you don't study the turtle or somebody that's slow, right? You study the fastest. You want to study how tall people can get. You don't study the pygmies, you study the Watusi. I don't know if they even have any more left. Y'all remember a long time ago, the Watusi, a tribe in Africa. A guy would be 6 foot tall at 10 years old. I think that's Rwanda. I think the jealous, pygmy type people, kind of not jealous, but you don't hear much about them anymore, so they have disappeared. But anyway, you want to study how tall people get, study the tallest. If you want to study how far people can go, you study the people that have gone the farthest. Isn't that right? Then that way, that'll help you catch up with them and then keep on about your business. All right. We're going to skip a lot. Science says that any living organism must adapt to its environment or change its environment in order to survive. The business of survival means you have to control your own community. Stop complaining about Chinese, Arabs, and Jews. Here's Korea. Business people coming in our community and open up it. Stop complaining about them. Right? They can open a business because you don't have one. Right? The only reason they can open a business in your community and prosper is because you don't have one there. So stop complaining about immigrants and foreigners coming into your community and opening up a business. That's your job. That's your responsibility. And remember we talked about environment. Any living organism, this is science of course, in order to survive, it must adapt to its environment or change its environment, right? Therefore, you have to adapt to getting shot down in the street. You have to adapt, you have to adjust to high fines and low pay, right? You have to adapt to that or change it. That's the only two options you have. You have to adapt to low pay, backseat, bottomism, second classism. You have to adjust to it, get used to it, or change it. Most people have said we'll adjust to it. Right? This is 38 years later. I read some articles from those days a few weeks ago in a class. The police had shot a little 5-year-old boy. This is way pre-Rodney King and all that. Same stuff. They shot a little boy in the house He had a toy gun, and the 5-year-old black boy and the white police shot him because he had a gun. Now, it couldn't be a real gun because a 5-year-old boy, those Rugers, 6-shooters, he couldn't hold that thing up and point it. He couldn't hold it up. He's not strong enough. And what's the deal about guns anyway? You know, the police say, gun! And then everybody shoot the guy. So what? Second Amendment said, I have a right to have a gun. Right? You can't shoot me because I have a gun. They will, unless you change it. Get used to it. Learn, embrace murder, self-murder. Embrace suicide. Yeah, embrace getting the doo-doo slapped out of you, or change it. That's the only option you have. Learn to love it. Attest to it. Now we have a 6-month program. Get organized. Get the truth out. Number 3, establish physical, moral, and spiritual program. Institute economic program. That's number 4. Educational program. And number 6, finally, personal material consumption. That's last. We have what we're going to do each day. Sunday, we have a general meeting. Monday, actually from 6 to 7, we're going to have physical fitness training. You know, when you're younger, you really, it helps you. See, Tuesday, general business. But 6 to 7, physical fitness training. Wednesday, Islamic instruction, orientation. Thursday, PT again, goal attainment, positive thinking. Friday, Jum'ah. Jum'ah. Saturday morning, 9:30 to 10:30. Again, a little physical fitness. Disciplined movement should be. Physical fitness helps a lot. I used to teach white boys in the federal pen. I used to teach them how to do time. And they spoke at all our classes. Like we have a Tuesday night class, they spoke. Now at camp, all the rich white folks was there. And one of them just broke down and asked me. He said, I was the president of the bank. I stole $2 million. I got a year and a half. He might have got 2 years and have to do 18. It's killing him. He said, all the brothers, they're Negroes, they rob banks with a gun. They all get 20 years on the second time. The first, they get 8 years the first one in those days. Then you come back again, you get 20. He said, we're over here pulling our hair out, and they're lifting weights and telling jokes. I said, because it's a secret. I said, we was raised doing this. Isn't that normal? He said, your kids go to the University of California, go to Princeton or Yale. You was a lawyer, you was a white businessman, right? I said, our kids go to jail. I said, this is what we do. I said, so you came straight in here, didn't you? Yeah. The judge, they called me, the feds called me, told me to come down and sign out. He went down to the federal station and signed out and went home. And he went to the court, and the judge said, I give you so many weeks or months, whatever it was. So one day they give him weekends. And his wife drove him up to camp in a Winnebago. And I was listening to him talk one day in a barbershop. A new white boy, a big white boy come in, and they was just talking. He said, yeah, I just came in. I got such a case. He said, you know, I've never had a pair of handcuffs on in my life. All the niggas was looking at him like he was crazy. Of course, he was a white man, and a white collar, they used to call it white collar. You never had on handcuffs. Is that how you get arrested? Get on the ground, nigga. And you handcuffed, your head is pushed into the floor, you're drug into the paddock, they gotta slam your head down so you get in the car, and it's no regular procedure. So, I had a white friend, he wasn't white, he was an Arab. He was a Christian Arab. His father from Palestine. He's politically conscious, but he was in these multi-million-dollar schemes, and I saw his pictures. He had white models as his girlfriend, and I was fool enough to have him help me with Arabic. Until I was leaving, I realized I was helping him. He didn't know a word of Arabic. I'd be reading Arabic. I said, "Nah, this." He said, "Yeah, that's fine." He never mentioned a word of Arabic. But we was friends, and he needed help, how to do time. At 4 o'clock count, I don't know how I got on this subject. At 4 o'clock count, all the rich white boys, we would sit in a circle. You would think I was a guru. We were sitting there with our legs crossed, and I would teach them the philosophy of doing time. You know what this simple was? I said, for me, when I go home, everybody says, "Man, what you want to do today?" It's nothing. I said, but you, when you go to prison, you're considered a loser because the system is created for you. I said, do you notice, y'all? They do different now. But I said, do you notice this is a beggar in the street and he's white, you won't give him no money. But if he's black, you'll give him some money. Why won't you give the white boy no money? Because you said this system is made for you, fool, and you out here begging. We got a whole system with your name on it, white boy, right? And you out here begging, I ain't giving you a dime. But the nigga does here, give him some money. Because we got the same system got his name on it too. Called the 13th Amendment, 14th Amendment, and all that. You go into jail because there ain't no slavery left in America except for convicted felons, isn't that right? Yeah. So the police are driving around to make them some felons. If you ain't one, they're going to hook you up and make you one. I didn't mean to get into this. The point I was making was we have orientation brochures, programs, fishing teams, Institute Economic Program, for beginning 1 year saving program, basic business education project, pool all resources, I'm going to get to the point in a minute, educational program. First stages, use public schools, since we don't have them in itself, especially in California. Encourage all members to be active in PTA and other school activities. At least one member at each school. Board of Education, influence curriculum. That means it's not like voting, but if you're in the local school board, you can influence stuff directly related to your child. So that we're not saying work within the system. Gradually shift from public to private. That's only temporary. You're using a public school and want to improve the curriculum because your child is there, but eventually we want to teach them right. You have to teach your own school. Do you know the children that went to this school here, every last one of them went on to college, and when they moved from here to whatever school they went to, it didn't make no difference. They were all A students. Everybody that left here, A students. And not working hard at it. This is our own environment. Maybe in 10 years you have, schools are subsidized, so you may have to hustle up about $500,000, but that ain't a lot of money. It's a lot of money for somebody that ain't got a job. Anyway, the way things are, the way things ought to be. And we have right here, we say, declare jihad in Oakland. If you remember last week, we talked about declaring spiritual jihad. And the last part from this is We're not going to let anybody change our course, divert our attention, or turn it around. We say, Huey, elders, congressmen, mayors, educators, keep your manhood. If you have to go to prison, lose your house, a car, a motorcycle, a boat, that's right, go on anyway. Because it says all of our people had been walking up to the door of freedom, it's 1980, and turning around. I got elders and Huey there because they was right there. And our mayors, remember we was getting black mayors running everywhere. And we wasn't getting nothing. All the business was gone, all the tax base was gone. They left us inferior schools and plenty of police, isn't that right? That's what they gave us. We wanted to be mayors, they said, you could be the mayor, boy. We're going to hook you up. And we didn't have no money. You know, remember when Mary Berry was the mayor? How bad Congress was? Right? Now, I wouldn't vote, but if I would have voted for anybody, it would have been Marion Berry. I like this style of leadership. This leadership was good leadership. Every city employee knows anything you can steal, you can have. Right? If it ain't nailed down, take it on out of here. Right? It's the only way you're going to get anything. Right? Now, he didn't steal a lot of money himself, but he let everybody. When I came to D.C., you didn't have to have nothing legal. People said, man, you ain't got no tags. You want some tags? $35. I said, $35? Real tags? You got them. Anything you needed from the city. I said, man, I like D.C. And the police, I run over there at DuPont Park. I would be running through there, and the police, well, I don't know how they got that far back on the trail. One was in the front seat with his feet hanging out, and the other one was in the driver's behind the steering wheel, and they would just kick back. I said, this is the way the police, and all that shade over there, that's where all the police were. You would have to go chase the police out of there to go to work. And say, hey man, and a lot of them was black. Now they wouldn't shoot you, they might beat you a little bit. If you got, but I like DC. I said, man, DC is all right. Went down to Heckerman's and I was buying material for the little masjid over there, and I got 45 pieces of studs. And I counted. She said, you got 15. I'm starting to say, 15? I got 45. I said, man, DC is all right. That's why Heckerman's probably went broke. Remember, Heckerman's used to be big. The Negroes finished it off. The point I'm making, we had a plan from the very beginning. From the very beginning of Masjid al-Islam, we had a plan. Now, let's jump to right now. Our current and future programs. A, re-Africanization of the Islamic movement in USA. Past indigenous Islamic movements inside the USA were militant, independent, strongly on the Sunnah, and liberation orientated. Our movements and organizations today must revive these characteristics. Again, we have to take charge of our own life. Isna, Ikna, and everybody grabbed up all the big talking Negroes, put them on the circuit, and killed the Islamic movement. Isn't that right? It ain't nothing happened. With all of these mosques, all of these people, and ain't nobody got nothing to say. De-Israelization of Islamic movement in North America. Our behavior should benefit Islam and Muslims. First, we must stop reacting to others' expectations and demands. We must avoid integration and assimilation into a warmongering criminal system of the United States government. We must stand up against tyranny and injustice. Skip a a little bit, stop apologizing for being a Muslim. Battle space awareness. Battle space awareness is an awareness and an understanding of the battle space or theater of operations. In today's war, we are battling for the minds and hearts of humanity. We must rise to the occasion of our time and act on a heroic level. We must harness all of the tools we have at our disposal: media, books, internet, movies, CDs, DVDs, to raise the banner of Islam. Our Islamic Institute has chosen psychological guerrilla warfare as its strategy for combating global Zionist American hegemony. Psychological guerrilla warfare gives a small organization with limited resources and outstanding discipline, courage, and deeply rooted faith to make the best of their situation. We believe in the eventual rise of Islam, that is truth, and the steady decline of zulm, shirk, and kufr. We must take care to unify and coordinate all the forces of good in our area of operation. Islamic dialectical idealism. Islamic dialectical idealism views change as natural, constant, historical, and evolutionary. Real revolution emerges from and should be guided by idealism, imagination, and possibility believing. We must strive for a high level of self-determination by which the events that affect us are directed by idealism, not vice versa. Y'all study dialectical materialism? Anybody study dialectical materialism? That is that it's a development that everything is controlled, all development is controlled by materialism. And it goes to a certain level, then it changes form into another, and they call that, and that's true in politics too, dialectical materialism. Well, we change that. We say Islamic dialectical idealism. Ideas, beliefs, and thoughts affect the environment. The greatest thing for a human being is not their history, but their imagination. The greatest thing for a human being is their imagination, their ability to visualize a future that's not yet become, but to picture it in their mind and then to begin to work on that picture. That's visualization. They're teaching in all the modern courses. Visualize your future. Picture your future. See yourself in a perfect home, perfect environment 10 years from now. So we call the true battle space, or Islamic idealism, the change is natural and constant. But true evolutionary visualization and thinking, seeing that it's possible. That means changing your self-esteem cycle. How you talk to yourself, self-talk. Telling yourself, I'm a worthy person. I can do it. I have, Brian Tracy, one of the white specialists in motivation, he was saying in the early 80s, talking to white people, and thinking big. He was telling them, you must look in the mirror now, and you must say to yourself so many times a day, I like myself, I like myself, I like myself. Telling that to white folks. All the movies are about white people in those days. All the heroes are white. But yet the human being, a lot of them didn't like themselves. They didn't feel worthy, so he was teaching white folks to say, right, you are worthy, and that I like myself. I like myself. Imagine a Negro vilified, no worth at all, right? Every Tarzan movie, if Jane fall in the water, Tarzan jump in there with his knife and slice that alligator, might whoop him up and take him out on the brink and slap him up with his tail, right? But the Negro is carrying a bundle for the white people. And anytime they want to show you the trail is dangerous, what happens? The Negro fall off the trail way down in the ditch. Will fall off in the water and get ate by the alligator. The nigga don't never whoop no alligator. And here's a white man in the jungle that's got more sense than the niggas, and they've been there since Lucy's time. That's billions of years, right? I'm trying to tell you, your picture and your story was a useless story. You was in everybody else's movie, isn't that right? And if you was in their movie, you was carrying their burden. You was working for them. What kind of mindset is that going to develop on you? If the only niggas you see is Rochester and Birmingham and all them niggas, right? You will think that your job is to serve white people. Isn't that right? That's your only value. Do you know that'll stick with you? It's stuck with a lot of Negroes up to this day. They feel that my job is to serve this white man's system. And that the Negro is worthless. Do you know the Negro can slap the white man upside the head, drag him down the street, take his money out of his pocket, stick his foot in his behind, and he'll still be mad at the Negro and say, you shouldn't wait off. Right? But there's another part of the people from Coonsville is that they have a little inside that they don't like being lynched, burned, slapped upside the head, right? Now, it's the Muslim's job to bring that part out of it. Not for revenge or hatred, but to control their own life. As we said in our own lecture, 1980, it's our job to help put the Negro back in charge of his own life. Okay, now, the reason I was saying some of this is because we've had some of the clownish stuff from Negroes. Now, we went one part in the past, one part in the future, but I want to show you a little bit of this ride that we've been talking about. If you look at, did y'all see this in a couple of weeks ago in Washington Post? One of rap music's first socially conscious writers. Y'all remember The Last Poets? Okay. And they're giving them a lot of credibility. The Last Poets. But the government was not friendly toward the Last Poets. In fact, the Last Poets was targeted by the government and depressed and suppressed. And then the next time you heard the revolution will be televised was for Gil Scott-Heron. I call him Heron now, because he was a dope fiend, right? They took the brothers that was real. Now remember, the brothers is part of the dark. The Last Poets, here they are. Oops, I'll get it, don't worry about it. That's Brother Jalil right there, Suleiman Al-Hadi Umar. That's out in Oakland, one of our programs, right? Last Poets. So the government knew how good they were, the Muslims knew how good they were, but what did they do? They suppressed them and gave us Gil Scott as the revolutionary poet of the late 70s and early 80s, right? Because he's a heroin addict. Y'all remember the good rappers in the 80s? Conscious rap, and Professor Griff and all them guys, right? And what was the mistake? He made one, the best album they made was Zionist Connection in 88, 89. Big seller. Jews got them off the market. They got rid of conscious rap. Then who the next niggas they bring? Snoop Doggy Dogg and them niggas. Shoot the nigga, blow up the nigga's house. Instead of elevating the black woman, that B word, jump up in that B word, it was horrible, right? It made sex abusive. There was no romance or caring in it at all. So the white man took over our rap stuff and then made it even dirty, as far as I know. It was no hassle between East Coast rap and West Coast rap, but the white man interjected himself in there, right? To get the East Coast niggas mad at the West Coast niggas. And they kill each other off. Just like all the big drug dealers. They get big, then they start killing each other off. Well, in Mexico, right? Well, in Colombia. Why is that? Because whatever we do, the white man is watching. He's watching your whole neighborhood, and he's identifying the potential leaders. Yes, he is. And he got a scheme to get rid of your potential leaders. That's what he do. And the best way, if you're a big cartel like in Colombia, they give you lawyers and everything, and then when they get rid of you after they give you fighting somebody else, the government will get all that money back. Remember Pablo Escobar? He told the Colombian government, if you get rid of that if you don't sign that U.S. extradition treaty, extradition to take Colombian drug dealers up to the U.S., I'll pay off the foreign debt. You know how much the foreign debt in Colombia was? $4.5 billion in those days. There was a lot of money then. That's how big they was. I used to live in Colombia. I used to live in Mexico. I used to just stroll down there. Yes, I wouldn't go down there now because they got everybody fighting and killing each other. 35,000 people the year before last. Probably 40 last year. Right? Oh, why did they get all of us to fight each other? Very simple. Why is the drug cartels in Colombia using American-made guns that come through the ATF? Anyway, so our ride came through getting help and aid. This is one of our big programs in Oakland. When we had the first program, Imam Jamil, the last poets, was there. See, California is different from the East Coast. Y'all had Masjid, you had Sunni Muslim. Out in California, we had the Mukmuks, which I won, of course, way back. We didn't know nothing about the Sunnah. What you talking about? The Sunnah? What's Sunnah? What's a Sunnah? Later. What you talking about? Nigga? Hair all hooked up like a fool? What's wrong with you? Well, no, Islam. I see you're talking about the Lamb. That's Muhammad. The Lamb without spot or blemish. Anyway, long story. So, each incident was a ride. Now, they got Negroes that have never done anything in their life talking about how bad we are. And you know what? The people are not checking what they say. So we're going to use that to clarify briefly where we're coming from. Number one, the hadith says that Imam Ali radiallahu anhu was going to Yemen to be a judge. He told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I'm too young to be a judge, I don't know. He said, the only thing, when you go down there, never make a judgment before you hear both sides. Well, you know, the police is tired of us by now, after all these decades. You see, the people in the movement, I don't know if y'all know Pete Shaw, y'all saw the Panther in Africa. This took over the party after Elvis, Pete O'Neill. Brother Musa, enjoyed the tapes very, very much. Please send more by my mother. Your homeboy from the days of struggle, Pete O'Neill. Okay. What's that all about? Now, would you tell somebody to send your mother something to send to them in Africa if you was a snitch? Well, the dumb Negroes that tried to take over our center in Oakland, you know what they did? The stupidest stuff you can say in the world. They said, Imam Musa, what was it? Got all the brothers killed. Did they say that? All the brothers, all of our brothers. Imam Musa got all the brothers killed. And they in Oakland, where I'm from. Of course, in Oakland, they know us as the head of East Oakland Enterprises, an enterprise zone. So from 1968 to about 72, we did what Martin Luther King wanted to do in Chicago. Y'all remember he went to Chicago? Why? To organize the downtrodden economically. But he never made it. We made it in Oakland. That's what East Oakland Enterprises was. In our neighborhood, they used to call me the mayor, of course, we brought money into East Oakland. We didn't run money out. People, money would circulate in our community. Nowadays, money come in the black community on the first, second, and third, and it's gone by the fourth and the fifth. It don't circulate, therefore you don't keep it. The Jewish community circulates money 11 times. So that means if you bring money into the community, it circulates to the auto mechanic, to this guy, the house builder. Everybody get a piece of the money, right? Not the black people. Money comes straight in, it goes straight out. And if it go to anybody, it goes to shoppers, it goes to the Korean store owner, it goes to, look at just southeast. How many black stores are there? Black American stores, shops, gas stations are there in the southeast. You gotta look for one. How many greasy spoons? You got more lums, yums, and Chinaman food than you do Negro food in the Negro neighborhood, isn't that right? This is, we say no. In Oakland, this is the first time in American history, because in the old days, older guys used to control the flow in the community. This is the first time people from 18 to 25 was opening stores and shops and businesses. We called it East Oakland Enterprise. It was the only economic enterprise zone in America that worked. That's why they call the brother the mayor of Oakland. And if I was getting the brothers killed, why would, when I run off, I go to Algeria where the Panthers are? This is something funny. If you're supposed to be a gangster, why would you run to Algeria and then to Tanzania, which is the head of the liberation movement in those days? That's where they were, in Tanzania. It was a frontline state. You see these crackpots, nothing adds up. But if people don't research, that's why we're talking. We use it as a benefit. The Negroes say anything they want. There's another picture. It's unbelievable. What the Negroes say. Well, you got all the brothers killed. So let me show you how the Negro look. Now the cars the Negro drive, that's thing all that there, whatever, it's pretty sharp. 1 of 10 on it. A muscular fellow. Now I had to make a decision in 1968. This is the official Black Panther Department. These are free Huey Newey buttons. This is 1968. You got to make a decision. Now, how long the niggas living looking like this? You know, 1968. Week, 2 weeks, a couple of years, they get lucky. So we made a decision. We flipped from this to this. It's years before Supervisor. That's a shop. This is making stuff. You know, niggas didn't dress that sharp. So you old people know that's a sharp nigga. That's one step before looking like a clown. If you go one step further, you'll be a clown. This is sharp, boy. That's sharp. Make hat, make all that stuff, and it all fits the car. The car is black and white too, you know. So that cooled the police down until they realized, wait a minute, the Black Panther office is on East 14th right here, and Big Hank has his biggest house 2 doors away. There's the pawn shop, Jerry's pawn shop, and then there's the Black Panther office. They're probably friends. So they figured out we were supporting the black movement. And also what made them mad? The white folks talked more about this in the economic enterprise zone than they did that. In the news, y'all know about the Black Panthers, but in Oakland, they know about us. Okay, the other thing. The Negroes said, this is from the newspaper, this is a shop again, this is a different suit. This is a Jewish tailor. Now everybody, the big people, Al Davis, the Oakland Raiders, they all went to him. When I showed this, them stupid niggas in Oakland, you know what they said? They said, Bob Hoffman had, what did they say, some kind of experiment or something? I don't know what it was. But see, the reason I'm telling y'all is because if you don't, I'm putting it on open, they have to investigate what them crackpots are saying. They say 99%, actually it's 100, lies. But the people don't want to find out the truth because the government didn't scare them all. And in Oakland, they thought they was going to do like they did at Dar. I'm going to move water closer. In New York, Dar had Rod. Rod is a military arm. Dar is armed. They did parachute training and everything. They sent a guy from overseas, Sheikh Jelani. He's supposed to be teaching them Sufism. Supposed to be teaching how to make voodoo and blah, just come from Afghanistan. Now, so he took a large group of Negroes up in the hills and brainwashed them. That's the story. Then they came back into New York City, and Sheikh Jelani took over the city and told him, Abdul-Karim, I'm going to make you the Amir of Dawah. This is from the word of mouth. Suleiman al-Hadi and the brothers was telling, because in those days we used to have the programs, right, doing that 81, 82, when that was happening. So this is something that worked real easy. Why it worked real easy? Because the brothers was not used to that type of thing. Simple little technique, right? The Islamic movement here in D.C. was moved out just as easy, the Islamic Party. They'd have people do something to the party, cars, or this, that, and another. And pretty soon, Muzaffar ad-Din said, we got to get away from the Negro. Right? And off to the islands they go. They did that stuff to us 100 times over. They tried that dumb stuff in Oakland. We putting you out, Imam. Musa, he ain't putting nobody out of nowhere. Pretty soon, we run them coons crazy. You ought to hear. I suggest anybody that can type up anything, you listen to what them Negroes and Oakland are saying. I'm saying this now because we're going to spend time on the past and on the future and on the present. That's why I read you what we intended to do in 1980. And although that's 38 years ago, we've survived every fitna 5 or 10 or 20 times over that they threw one punch to every other group and knocked them out. Why they didn't do that to us? Because Allah blessed us with a certain amount of what we used to call game. The other brothers just didn't, they never gave our brothers time to develop. No evolutionary period. So they hit them with one-round knockouts. Everybody, one-round knockouts. And they never learned how to manage a move. And if they was moving along pretty good, they'd send 4 or 5 little cutie pies in, and the niggas would be fighting and arguing, just like that. Right? Because they wasn't trained. They never got a chance to evolve. Now, what's that mean we're going to do? We're going to do what we've been doing. We're going to continue to slap the urine out of your boss man right in front of his face. Yes, we are. Old Mukhtar and Khadijah and them said, yo, are getting the movement people in trouble. I said, well, y'all probably know who this is. You know, the BLA, Black Liberation Army. He just got out after 33 years. And there we are. I'm not going to show it much because part of the parole is not supposed to be around. So that's me, that's him. You know, everybody knows the name. So why is everybody friendly with me? The last poets, the Panther Party, the leaders, all friends with me, and I'm killing everybody. Well, I done set them up. I'm going to do all the clothes. You the one got Imam Jamil put in jail. I said, that's good. That's slick. Why don't you confess? I said, I confess. I said, I was the Titanic. I did that. That was 1912, I said. Because I did it. I said, you don't know about time travel. Do you? You think you smart the way you, I said, well, no. The Titanic, I did that because they didn't let Jack Johnson on. Because they did him a favor, right? 1912, that thing sunk. It was an unsinkable ship. You think it was bad. Listen to the old Jubilee singers of that area. If you can find it. Black folks, they were doing the cakewalk. They was happy because it was a white man, an unsinkable white man ship that went to the bottom. They were celebrating in some areas. So I said, Andre Doria, 1956, that was me. I said, 9/11, you thought I was in LA because I had tricked the people thinking I was in LA. Everybody in LA thought I was out with them, but I was actually in New York. I did it. I confessed. And I confessed to John Wilkes Booth. John Wilkes Booth ain't shot no Abraham Lincoln. I did it. Freeing niggas. I made them think. Time travel. John Wilkes Booth. He did jump off stage, said that forever against tyranny and something. But the shooting the white man, I said, that was me. Time travel. You know what them niggas did? They reworded the stuff and they put it on the internet. That Imam Musa confesses. Don't they put it on there? Confesses to all that fitna. Now, I'm not going to go over anything else. I'm going to try not to. But now remember, we prayed, oh Allah, when you bring America down, make fun of it, right? Make it hilarious. Does anybody remember what I'm doing? I didn't say burn them with fire on it. Now, what do we have now? This is the most hilarious president in world history. He has made a fool out of America beyond belief. Now, in our war against the system, we always talked about humor. We always talked about kindness, and we always talked about optimism. We have had to have a certain type of humor just to live in America. Because if you added up if you went to the newspaper every day and said this is what happened, you would be sad all the time. Every day. So you have to have some humor. You have to change everything. So what we did, we changed all this stuff from negativity to positivism. And that's what we've been dealing with. I just want to show you a quick one or two more posters. They talk about we got Imam Jamil put in jail. It would be impossible. How we're here. He had something down in Atlanta, right? How could I? See, the Negro does say, how? How could you do it, right? But then, how much money have they ever raised for Imam Jamil, anybody? We raised over $300,000 cash money. Why would the white folks, if I'm such a friend of the white folks, revolution from Egypt to the Americas? This is on the internet, it's not mine. Oakland and the American Islamic Revolution. If you go to Oakland, what revolution would you be seeing? This is 2011, after we got in too much into white folks' business. Then they got Imam Jamil, H. Rap Brown, they got Imam Lukman, and then they got me. Your homeboy is up in the penitentiary for the rest of his life, no possibility of parole. We shot this one 18 times, or 21 times, right? Imam Lukman. And at the Eid, that mushmouth Negro Imam from New York, knowing that the community is starving to death, gas need to be turned on, and they up in Detroit, you know how much, they didn't even say no. We have 3,000 people here. We'd like for y'all, if you donate $10 a piece, it'd be $30,000, right? Not one dime. Not one dime. Then they got me. What's this mean? We got your homeboy, nigga. We got your other homeboy. Nigga, you next. But we have a traditional statement for white folks. You can kiss my black bottom, boss man. How you gonna scare somebody almost 100 years old? Boo this, boo that. I showed y'all this. Al-Faqih is a safeguard against global fitna. You should have seen how mad the white folks was. Okay, the point I'm making, we've always had a plan. We got here by praising Allah as the, and I really will close. It said that you will surely ride from stage to stage. Each incident, each event that you have is a vehicle that's going to take you on a ride to a higher destination. Every incident, every event that you have, planned or unplanned, it don't make no difference. You jump on that boy, you will ride event after event until you eventually evolve above and beyond their ability to do anything about it. You can out-evolve your protagonist. You can get sharper than the system. They stop all the other Negroes because they throw one punch and the Negro drop. One round knockouts all the time for every one of our parties. Suppose you're on your 400th round. It ain't tired at all. Pretty soon, he starts to recycle the same old stupid plans. Because he been used to one round knockouts. That means he ain't never been no 3 or 4 rounds with nobody. And you up in the 400 round, his tongue is hanging out, his eyes is delirious, he becomes stupid. The people in Oakland, Khadijah and Mukhtar became stupid. The stuff they say is stupid. The stuff they say is impossible. It can't happen. It's not possible. Right? It didn't happen. And everybody knows it, isn't that right? We prayed that America be brought down in front of everybody's eyes and with an explosion of laughter. We didn't know it'd be this sweet. Look at old Donald. Boy, we got it going on. Look at your president. Isn't it nice to see him every day? What did the white folks in Britain? They had a big doll, remember that big balloon doll that they had with a diaper on it, a big red-headed, orange-headed doll, and a big diaper on it. That's what they think about this clown. It's hilarious. That means he's going down the way we act so about to. And the last thing, this is truly the last thing. And it says, if you trust in Allah, He will provide for you from avenues, from ways that you would never dream of. That's what the Quran, that's what we open with. If you work for the cause of Allah, Allah will help you from ways you never even imagined. O Allah, we seek Thy refuge from anxiety and grief. We seek Thy refuge from lack of strength and laziness. We seek Thy refuge from cowardice and ignorance. We seek Thy refuge from being overpowered by debt and the oppression of men. O Allah, suffice us from what is lawful, keep us what is prohibited. With Thy grace, make us free from what? But for the inside. Ameen. It comes.